Hi, Taurus and Taurus Rising. Here is your 2026 astrology overview. I'm Astrologer Joseph Anthony. All right. If you've watched my first video on the overview of 2026, you know that this is going to be a very important year. And it's actually an important year for all signs. But your sign in particular is going to have things related to having to do with a rebirth, a sense of rebirth, having to do with your career, possibly even moving this year when Jupiter enters Leo. And of course, with Saturn and Neptune going into Aries, back into your 12th house, this is going to be sort of a spiritual rebirth for many of you. So if you're a Taurus rising or a Taurus sun sign, this is a very general overview, using Western tropical astrology. Of course, I will go much deeper into these alignments and everything in the Inner Circle community. There, I will show you the charts and what's going on. And of course, if you decide to join the Inner Circle, members do send me their charts, and I go over some of the stuff in their charts, and they answer a few questions for them. But there is much more in-depth in the Inner Circle. Here, it's going to be a very general overview because I don't have your birthday and your birth sign, the placements. So anyway, I want to go over what I see here for many of you guys. And it's going to be very important because the eclipses also help guide us in where we're going. And so many of you are going to have career changes this year. So let's dive in and I'll show you what I'm talking about. All right. So the first thing we have here, let me move this forward, is this Saturn and Neptune. Now, these are already entered Aries once before in 2025. So it gave us a little touch, a little flavor of what's going on here with Saturn and Neptune. So Neptune goes into Aries on September 26th. And this is going to be your 12th house of spirituality, religion, limitations, the hidden realm, anything to do with psychic abilities. So that's all going to be enhanced for many of you over the course of the next 13 years, because Neptune is not leaving Aries now. It's going to stay in Aries for the next 14 years or so. And then we have Saturn entering Aries as well in February. Now, I'm going to tell you, February is a monumental month for everybody. But for you guys, it has a lot to do with career. Now, Saturn is going to be in Aries, so it has to do with the 12th house. And so you might find yourself working from behind the scenes or feeling heavy responsibility for what you're doing at work. So this is going to be something you really need to pay attention to when we have Saturn and Neptune both in your 12th house. Pay attention to your health, your mental health, your physical health, your spiritual health. These are going to be the themes as we see going into February. Now, let me touch upon February a little more because this is huge as well. This year, we have eclipses that activate your career sector. So this one's going to be in Aquarius in your 10th house of career. So many of you are going to have new opportunities for advancement in some way, whether you're getting a promotion at work or you're starting a company or you're involved with a group with an organization that's going to really propel you forward. February is a very important year for many of you, okay, having to do with career. And so take advantage of opportunities that come your way. This opens up a doorway for, major, things to come through friends, through organizations, through charities. So don't discount anything because it's going to be very important. And right around the corner from there, we have the conjunction of Saturn and Neptune. This is a huge realization moment. When these two planets join together at the same degree, at the same time, this absolutely means that your imagination, your psychic ability, your connection to spirit is going to be off the charts. This happens in your 12th house. And so this is going to be a very important time where you are making a transition of some kind. Maybe you're going from an old career to a new career. Maybe you're changing your physical health, and the way you think about things. And maybe you're getting more prominence and more responsibility coming your way, and it involves creativity. This is a huge month for many of you. So I want you to pay attention to what's going on to these alignments. Of course, we do have the first retrograde on the 26th, and this is in the 11th house. That has a lot to do with your friends and groups and organizations, and you may be rethinking all of that. Okay, and so this is going to be very important, but there is another alignment that I need you to pay attention to. Mars squares Uranus on the 27th, and this affects you because Uranus is still in Taurus at this time, and Mars is going to be in Aquarius. So this square that's going to happen between your 10th house and your first house of identity and self could cause a little friction for many of you, and it could involve your career. And so this is why I'm saying February is such an important month. A lot of transition happening in February involving career and other people. So pay attention. Now, when we go into March, as you can see here, March the 3rd, we have a lunar eclipse, which usually brings up, a lot of hidden dirt and things from the past. It's going to be in your 5th house. And so this has a lot to do with creativity. It has a lot to do with health matters, service to others, your children. And so maybe you have a project or something that you're working on that is no longer working for you. And you're coming to the realization, I have to bring closure into this area of my life. Maybe there's a relationship that's not working anymore, love life or something, a business partnership that's not working anymore that you need to let go of. And so this is going to be very important for many of you as well. Lunar eclipses do bring in endings. And so, or at least realization. So that's what I'm seeing here when we go into March. Now, April is an amazing month because we're going to have what's called a stellium, which is 6 planets in one sign. And here it is, between the 15th and the 19th, they'll all be in Aries in your 12th house. Very important because this is, again, spirituality. This is about sort of a transition or transcending, thinking, your self-identity. All of this stuff is going to be highlighted around this time. And again, you may be getting profound insights about, who you are, information, dreams. Everything's going to be very vivid at this time. But Aries is very self-empowering. So you are literally sort of rebuilding yourself from the inside out, spiritually, psychologically. And that's what I'm seeing for April. We also have at the end of April, Uranus goes back into Gemini, which is going to be your 2nd house of income and values. So this is going to bring in a lot of instability in that area of your chart, having to do with money matters or your value system. And this will happen over the next 7.5 years or so as Uranus makes its way through Gemini. So, it'll bring in positive amounts of currency or investments, and then it'll take it away because Uranus is very unstable. It's surprising, either on the good side or on the bad side. It doesn't really matter. It's just the way it works. But here it is at the end of April, which is going to be very big for many of you. Now, May is your time of the year, April and May. So the energy should be flowing nicely for many of you. But when we get into June, okay, we get into that Gemini season and then later into the Cancer season, we have this going on. Jupiter enters Leo. Now, this is big because it's going to activate your 4th house of home, feeling, and foundation, real estate matters. All of this becomes activated. And so you are going to either move or decide to move, or maybe you're doing something with your home or your family. And so this is going to be very important for many of you. Okay, and this lasts for a whole year. So as you can see here, there's many changes on the horizon here. I'm just tipping the iceberg here for many of you. We also have this. July is another big month, all right? So the 2 months that I see some major significant changes occurring for many of you are going to be February and July, okay? And even August, because we have a solar eclipse, which I will get to in a minute. But look at all these alignments, and this is going to be big because some of these have to do with letting go or transitioning to something new. But this yellow one here is big because it's going to happen in Jupiter, your 4th house, to your career house in Pluto. So there's something big happening either with your career or your home life or your family dynamics right in the middle of this month, as you could see here. The rest of the alignments are actually very favorable. We see sextiles, we see trines. In astrology, these are favorable. You still have to put effort in it, but they seem more favorable. So we're seeing some of that, and some of these have to do with your career. See the sextile here, the trine here, and their career matters. So career issues are definitely in the mix this entire year for many of you. Now, here's another one having to do with career. On July 27th, the North Node, which is what we're striving for symbolically, and the South Node is what we come in with in Leo, they change signs. They happen around every 18 months or so, 18 and a half months. So the North Node in Aquarius basically has you focusing on your career, while the South Node in Leo has you looking at your foundation, your home, your family, and, thinking maybe, I need to hit the road or something. and I need to, promote my business and what I do and all this other stuff. So this is going to be very important in the next 18 months. But July is monumental as well from an astrological standpoint. Now, when we go into August, this is again monumental. We have a solar eclipse in Leo, which is going to activate your 4th house of home, feeling, and foundation. So this is why I say I think many of you are going to be moving or getting involved in real estate matters or doing something with the family dynamics. This absolutely shows me where all these changes are occurring for many of you. And so this is going to open up a new doorway for many of you. So again, get ready for some massive changes on the horizon this year. And I'm trying to give you an idea of where they are going to happen. Then, of course, at the end of August, we have a lunar eclipse in Pisces, which has to do with a community or having to do with friendships. And again, having to realize that maybe they've run their course and you need to move forward from them. And that happens in the 11th house of hopes, wishes, and for the future. And so we need to really pay attention to that. September, there's not a whole lot going on. We have a little friction at the beginning of the month where Mars, is squaring Saturn. And so there's a lot of miscommunication going on. I'm seeing here the first sort of week of September. But then when we go into October, this is where it gets a little tricky again because Venus is your ruler and it will go retrograde in Scorpio. So the past comes calling again. And Scorpio is your 7th house. And so people from the past, situations from the past resurface once again for many of you. And of course, it'll start off in Scorpio and then backtrack into Libra into your 6th house. So there is definitely sort of some cleaning up or revisiting the past in some way that you'll have to deal with, especially on the 24th when there'll be a retrograde as well in Scorpio. So the past comes calling in a big way. And then, of course, this major conjunction on November the 15th, Mars and Jupiter are in Leo, and they will continue to activate that 4th house of home, feeling, and foundation. So you can see here the dynamics of the year really look interesting for the home, feeling, and foundation and career matters. But in between all of that, with the Aries energy in the 12th house, it has a lot to do with limitations. It has a lot to do with spiritual matters. So don't bite off more than you could chew is what my suggestion would be in this reading. All right, so if you want to know more, I do an extended version of this in my Inner Circle community. But also, if you want to read the astrology, I write an astrology newsletter each month. It's on one. You could sign up here at astrologerjoe.com. I don't have the newsletter here, but I have it here at planetswithin.com. Okay, so you could sign up any one of these websites. You'll get you'll get it sent to you in an email. And so check it out. I did write about it here. It's under the blog tab. And of course, join my Inner Circle. There's a link down below, and there I do a weekly astrology overview, the extended horoscopes each month. Members, send me their charts, and I go over answer some questions for them. Give them a general overview what I see based on their actual chart, not these sun sign charts. And so, I teach astrology, and we talk about all the political theater going on in the world, and we dive real deep into that, the issues having to do with what's real and what's not real. So anyway, consider joining. And of course, always remember we are spiritual beings having a human experience, and we are going through a massive transition right now. We all are. So we're doing the best we can, but this is one of the ways to remind ourselves of what's important and what's real. All right, so have a great new year, and I look forward to talking to you soon. Bye for now.